Admiral Kestha of the Vorthan Republic stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking around at the human technology with amazement. The alien commander was tall and elegant, with blue-tinted skin and forearms that moved with graceful precision. "Captain Do-hyun," Thaloran said, "my people owe you a debt that can never be repaid. For 2 centuries we fought the hegemony with courage but little hope. Your defensive technologies have changed everything." Captain Do-hyun, still exhausted from the battle, gestured toward the viewing screen where the debris of the World Eater drifted in space. "Admiral, we never intended to start a galactic war. We just wanted to go home. And yet you have given the galaxy something it has not had in centuries. Hope for freedom," Thaloran replied. "The hegemony controlled over 3,000 star systems. As of this moment, fewer than 200 remain under Imperial control." Dr. Yoon Jae-won looked up from his science station. "Captain, I'm analyzing reports from across the galaxy. The power vacuum left by the hegemony's collapse is causing chaos in some systems, but most are declaring independence peacefully. Communications Officer Han Myung was monitoring hundreds of different alien transmissions. Captain, representatives from 47 different civilizations are requesting formal meetings with us. They want to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. Commander Park So-man was coordinating damage control throughout the ship. Captain, repairs will take at least 2 weeks. We've lost 30% of our crew, and our weapon systems are barely functional. The cost of their victory was becoming clear. 36 brave souls, including Lieutenant Choi Hanul, had given their lives to save not just Earth, but countless alien civilizations oppressed by the hegemony. Admiral Thaloran seemed to read Do-hyun's thoughts. "Captain, your people fought with honor and courage. The galaxy will remember their sacrifice." Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae joined the group, his uniform torn and his face streaked with grease from emergency repairs. "Captain, I've been thinking about getting home. With the hegemony's hyperspace network damaged, it might take months to find a safe route back to Earth." "Actually," Admiral Thaloran said, "I can help with that. The Vorthan Republic has detailed star charts of this entire region. We can guide you home safely." But Dr. Yoon Jae-won was studying something that troubled him. "Captain, there's a problem. The hegemony invasion fleets were already en route to Earth when we destroyed their command structure. Without central coordination, they might continue toward our home system anyway." Do-hyun felt his heart skip a beat. "How many ships?" "Based on intercepted communications, at least 2,000 vessels spread across multiple fleets." Admiral Thaloran considered this information. "Captain, some of those ships may surrender when they learn of the Empire's collapse, but others, especially the fanatic units, may continue their mission regardless. Then we need to get home immediately," Commander Park So-man said. "No," Do-hyun said quietly. "We need to do something else first." He activated the ship's intercom system. "All hands, this is the captain. We've won the battle here, but Earth may still be in danger. Hegemony invasion fleets were already heading for our homeworld. Before we destroyed their command structure." The crew listened intently as their captain continued. "Admiral Thaloran has offered to guide us home, but I believe we have a responsibility to do more. The hegemony is collapsing, but that creates new dangers. Some systems may descend into chaos. Others may be threatened by remaining Imperial forces." He paused, looking around his damaged bridge at the faces of his crew. "We came out here to explore the galaxy and meet new civilizations. We've done that, but not in the way we expected. We've become something we never intended to be, the leaders of a galactic revolution." Dr. Yoon Jae-won spoke up. "Captain, what are you proposing?" "I'm proposing that we help establish a new galactic order, the Terran Accords, a treaty that guarantees protection for developing civilizations and prevents any single empire from dominating the galaxy again." Admiral Thaloran's eyes widened with interest. "Captain, such an agreement would require the cooperation of dozens of different species with very different cultures and needs." "Then we better get started," Do-hyun replied. Over the following weeks, the Indomitable became the unofficial capital of a new galactic alliance. Representatives from liberated worlds arrived daily to participate in negotiations for the Terran Accords. The agreement that emerged was unprecedented in galactic history. It established principles of self-determination for all species, banned the conquest of developing civilizations, and created a mutual defense pact against aggressive empires. But time was running out for Earth. Communications Officer Han Myung monitored the approach of hegemony invasion fleets towards Sol's system. "Captain, the lead elements will reach Earth in 10 days. Even if we left now, we couldn't get there in time." That's when Admiral Thaloran made an unexpected offer. "Captain, the combined fleets of the Alliance now number over 15,000 ships. If Earth is threatened, we will defend it as if it were our own homeworld." Other alien representatives quickly agreed. The Centauri Alliance, the Rigel Federation, and 5 other civilizations pledged their fleets to Earth's defense. "Admiral," Do-Yun said with emotion, "humanity would be honored by such friendship." The race to Earth began immediately. While the Indomitable traveled toward Sol's system at maximum speed, the Allied fleets took faster hyperspace routes to intercept the hegemony invasion forces. Captain Do-Yun stood on his bridge, watching the star patterns slowly become familiar as they approached home. It had been 6 months since they had left Earth on what was supposed to be a simple test flight. "Captain," Dr. Yoon Jae-won called out, "I'm detecting massive energy signatures near Earth. Multiple fleets engaging in combat." The viewing screen showed the space around Earth filled with thousands of ships locked in battle. But as they drew closer, it became clear that the Allied fleets were winning. Hegemony ships were surrendering or being destroyed by vessels using human defensive technology. Admiral Thaloran's voice came through their communication system. "Captain Do-Hyun, this is Admiral Thaloran. Earth is secure. The hegemony invasion forces have been defeated." Relief flooded through the bridge crew. Earth was safe. As the Indomitable entered Earth's solar system, they were greeted by an incredible sight. Ships from dozens of alien civilizations filled the space around their homeworld, all displaying friendship signals. Communications Officer Han Myung was receiving hundreds of messages from Earth. "Captain, they're asking us to land immediately. The entire planet wants to meet us." But Captain Do-Hyun was looking at something else on his tactical display. "Han Myung, are those—" "Yes, Captain. Those are human ships. Earth has been building a fleet using the technical data we transmitted." Indeed. Surrounding Earth were 50 newly constructed human warships, all based on the Indomitable's design, but incorporating improvements suggested by their alien allies. As they descended toward Earth, Do-Hyun realized that their homeworld had already begun its transformation into a spacefaring civilization. The planet that had sent out one experimental ship was now the center of a galactic alliance. The Indomitable landed at the same spaceport from which it had departed 6 months earlier. But everything had changed. Representatives from alien civilizations walked alongside human officials. Construction crews were building new facilities to accommodate visitors from across the galaxy. Captain Do-Hyun stepped off his ship and breathed Earth's air for the first time in half a year. Beside him walked Commander Park Summon, Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae, Dr. Yoon Jae-won, and Communications Officer Han Myung. These were the survivors who had changed galactic history. The welcoming ceremony was attended by leaders from across the galaxy. But for Do-Hyun, the most important moment came when he placed a memorial plaque at the spaceport entrance. The plaque read, "In memory of Lieutenant Choi Hanul and the 35 crew members of the UNSC Indomitable, who gave their lives to defend freedom across the galaxy. They left Earth as explorers and died as heroes." 6 months later, Captain Do-Hyun stood in the same spaceport, but now he wore the uniform of the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council. The Terran Accords had been signed by over 100 civilizations, creating the largest peaceful alliance in galactic history. The Indomitable had been repaired and upgraded, incorporating the best technology from dozens of alien civilizations. But it was no longer just a human ship. Its crew now included officers from multiple species, all working together to explore the galaxy and protect developing civilizations. As Do-Hyun prepared to board his ship for another mission, he reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had hoped for peaceful first contact and cultural exchange. Instead, they had found an empire that wanted to enslave them. But by refusing to surrender, by fighting for their freedom and the freedom of others, humanity had become something greater than they had ever imagined. They were no longer just the people of Earth. They were the protectors of galactic freedom. The hegemony's greatest nightmare had come true. They had encountered a species that would not be conquered, could not be intimidated, and possessed the power to liberate everyone else. As the Indomitable lifted off on its new mission, Captain Do-Yun looked back at Earth one last time. The World Eater's massive weapon finished charging with a sound like thunder rolling across space. High Admiral Zorak Prime stood on his flagship bridge, watching the human ship struggle against impossible odds. Over half his fleet was destroyed, but the alien vessel was finally showing damage. "Finish them," he commanded. The planet-killer weapon fired a beam of pure energy that could crack worlds in half. It struck the Indomitable directly, and for a moment the human ship disappeared in a blaze of light brighter than a sun. When the energy faded, the ship was still there. Damaged, scarred, but still fighting. "Impossible," Zorak Prime whispered. "Nothing can survive a direct hit from the World Eater." Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Do-Hyun pulled himself up from the deck where the impact had thrown him. Emergency lights flashed red and smoke filled the bridge. Half his crew was injured, but they were all still alive. "Damage report," he called out. Commander Park Semin's voice was shaky but determined. "Hull integrity down to 30%, Captain. Main weapons at 60% capacity, but we're still in one piece." Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae's voice crackled through the damaged intercom system. "Captain, reactor modification is complete. When you give the word, we can take out everything in this system." Dr. Yoon Jae-won was working frantically at his science station. "Captain, I'm reading something strange from their communication network. It's not just connecting their military, it's part of a galaxy-wide system." "What do you mean?" Do-Hyun asked, fighting his way through the smoke to the science station. "Sir, this empire isn't the only power in the galaxy. There are dozens of other civilizations connected to this network. Most of them appear to be under hegemony control." Communications Officer Han Mi-young looked up from her damaged station. "Captain, I'm picking up transmissions from some of these other civilizations. They're not all happy about hegemony rule." A crazy idea began forming in Do-Hyun's mind. "Han Mi-young, can you broadcast on their entire network?" "Yes, sir, but it would reveal our position to every ship in the galaxy." "Good," Do-Hyun said grimly. "I want them all to know where we are." High Admiral Zorak Prime was preparing to fire the World Eater's weapon again, when his communications officer interrupted him. "Sir, the human ship is broadcasting on all channels. They're sending a message across the entire galactic network." "What kind of message?" "Sir, you should hear this." Captain Do-Hyun's voice filled communication systems across the galaxy. "This is Captain Lee Do-Hyun of the Earthship Indomitable, speaking to all free peoples of the galaxy. We are human beings from a world called Earth. 3 days ago, we encountered the galactic hegemony for the first time. They demanded our surrender and threatened to make us slaves. The message continued, reaching civilizations across thousands of star systems. We refused. Since then, we have been fighting for our survival against an empire that sees all other species as property to be owned or enemies to be destroyed. They have now sent invasion fleets to destroy our homeworld and exterminate our entire species." Dr. Yoon Jae-won was monitoring the responses from across the galaxy. "Captain, we're getting replies from dozens of civilizations. Many of them have been fighting the hegemony for centuries." Do-Hyun continued his broadcast. "To all species under hegemony rule, you are not alone. To all free peoples of the galaxy, an empire that would commit genocide against us will eventually come for you too. To the galactic hegemony, you wanted to see what humans do when cornered. Today you find out." He nodded to Dr. Yoon Jae-hwan, who began transmitting the technical specifications for human defensive technology. "We freely share our defensive technologies with any civilization willing to stand against tyranny. These shield designs and armor specifications are our gift to the galaxy's free peoples." The response was immediate and overwhelming. 7 major alien confederations simultaneously declared war on the hegemony. Rebellions erupted across imperial space as subjugated species saw their chance for freedom. Emperor Valdris watched his empire begin to crumble in real time. "This is impossible," he raged. "One alien ship cannot destroy 3 centuries of imperial rule." Intelligence Director Nexus Kane was monitoring reports from across the empire. "My lord, 17 sectors are in open rebellion. Our garrison fleets are being overwhelmed by forces using human defensive technology." "Then we destroy the source," the Emperor declared. "Zorak Prime, use everything we have. Destroy that ship and everyone aboard it." High Admiral Zorak Prime looked at his tactical display. His fleet of over 1,000 ships was now reduced to fewer than 300. The human vessel had fought its way to within striking distance of the World Eater itself. "All ships, final assault," he commanded. "Ram them if you have to. That ship cannot be allowed to survive." The remaining hegemony forces threw themselves at the Indomitable with desperate fury. Energy weapons, kinetic rounds, and suicide attacks filled space around the human ship. Commander Park Salmon was coordinating their defenses, but the damage was mounting. "Captain, we can't take much more of this. Hull breaches on 12 decks. Weapons down to 30%. "Kim Wante," Do-Yun called to the engine room. "How long until detonation?" 2 minutes, Captain. "But sir, if we're going to evacuate anyone—" "No evacuations," Do-Hyun said firmly. "We can't let them capture our technology." Dr. Yoon Jae-hwan suddenly looked up from his station with excitement. "Captain, massive hyperspace signatures approaching. Multiple fleets heading straight for us." "Hegemony reinforcements?" Park So-man asked. "No, sir," Han Myung called out. "I'm receiving friendly signals. It's the Vorthan Republic, the Centauri Alliance, and 5 other confederations. They're here to help." The space around the hegemony capital system suddenly filled with thousands of new ships. But these weren't hegemony vessels. They were the combined fleets of 7 alien civilizations, all equipped with human-designed defensive technology. Admiral Kes Thalarin of the Vorthan Republic spoke directly to the Indomitable. "Captain Do-Hyun, this is Admiral Thalarin. My people have been fighting hegemony oppression for 200 years. Your gift of defensive technology has changed everything. We are here to repay the debt." High Admiral Zorak Prime stared in disbelief as his remaining ships were overwhelmed by the massive Allied fleet. "This is impossible. Where did all these ships come from?" Emperor Valdris appeared on the main screen of Zorak Prime's flagship, his face twisted with rage. "You incompetent fool. One primitive vessel has destroyed my empire." "My lord, we can still destroy them with the World Eater," Zorak Prime replied desperately. "Then do it. Fire everything we have." The World Eater began charging its ultimate weapon, preparing to destroy not just the Indomitable but half the Allied fleet around it. The massive space station glowed with the power to crack planets, but Admiral Thalarin's fleet was equipped with human shield technology. When the planet killer weapon fired, the combined shields of 1,000 Allied ships absorbed and deflected the energy. "Impossible," Emperor Valdris whispered as his ultimate weapon failed for the first time. Captain Do-Yun opened a final communication channel to the entire hegemony fleet. "Emperor Valdris, this is Captain Do-Hyun. You wanted to exterminate my species because you were afraid of what we might become. Today you created exactly what you feared most. The Allied fleet opened fire on the World Eater with weapons enhanced by human technology. The massive space station, which had destroyed countless worlds, began breaking apart under the assault. Emperor Valdris screamed orders at his remaining ships, but it was too late. His ultimate weapon was dying, his empire was in rebellion, and his fleet was being destroyed by the very species he had tried to enslave. "You have doomed the galaxy to eternal war," he raged at Do-Yun. "No," Do-Yun replied calmly. "We've doomed your empire to justice." The World Eater exploded in a blast that lit up the entire star system. Emperor Valdris and High Admiral Zorak Prime died in the explosion, along with the last symbols of hegemony power. Chief Engineer Kim Wante's voice came through the intercom. "Captain, reactor modification is no longer necessary. The immediate threat has been eliminated." Captain Do-Hyun sat back in his command chair, exhausted. Around him, his crew began working to repair their damaged ship. They had survived the impossible. Communications Officer Han Myung looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm receiving messages from all over the galaxy. Hegemony forces are surrendering by the thousands. The Empire is collapsing." Dr. Yoon Jae-hwan was analyzing the galactic situation. "Captain, without central coordination, most hegemony sectors are declaring independence. The invasion fleets heading for Earth are turning back." Commander Park So-man checked her tactical display. "Captain, Admiral Thalarin is requesting permission to come aboard." Do-Hyun nodded. "Granted. I think we need to talk." As he watched the debris field that had once been the galaxy's most powerful space station, Captain Do-Hyun realized that humanity's first contact with alien life had changed everything. They had left Earth as explorers, fought as soldiers, and now they were something new entirely. The leaders of a galactic alliance. The Empire's greatest nightmare had come true. But it wasn't an alien invasion or a technological revolution. It was meeting a species that refused to be conquered and had the power to free everyone else. Intelligence Director Nexus Kane stood before Emperor Valdris with the news the Empire had been waiting for. "My lord, we have found them." The Emperor leaned forward on his crystal throne. "Their homeworld?" Yes, my lord. By analyzing the quantum signatures left by their faster-than-light drive, we traced their origin point. The system is called Sol, and their homeworld is the third planet, Earth. High Admiral Zorak Prime activated a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. 8 planets, my lord. The third one shows clear signs of industrial civilization, population estimated at 8 billion. Emperor Valdris smiled coldly. Perfect. Prepare invasion fleets for all major population centers. I want this species wiped out completely. My lord, Kane continued, there's something else. Our analysis suggests this is their only spacefaring vessel. They appear to be a very young space-traveling civilization. Even better, the Emperor said. One ship destroyed an entire fleet and began a war with our empire. Imagine what 8 billion of them could do if given time to build more ships. Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Dr. Yoon Jae-hwan was studying intelligence gathered from captured alien databases. What he found made his blood run cold. Captain, he called urgently, I found something terrible. Captain Do-yoon hurried over to the science station. What is it? Sir, I've been analyzing their hyperspace communication network. It's more than just communications, it's a tracking system. Every time we use our quantum fold drive, it leaves traces they can follow. Commander Park So-min looked up from her tactical station. Are you saying they can track us back to Earth? I'm saying they probably already have, Yoon Jae-hwan replied grimly. If they've been collecting data from our previous jumps, Communications Officer Han Mi-young suddenly spoke up. Captain, I'm intercepting massive fleet movements from their capital system. Multiple invasion fleets all heading toward something called Sol system. The bridge fell silent. Sol was their home system. How long until they reach Earth? Do-hyun asked quietly. Based on their hyperspace speed, about 6 weeks, Han Mi-young replied. Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae spoke through the intercom. Captain, even at maximum speed it would take us 2 months to get home. The terrible reality sank in. The hegemony invasion fleets would reach Earth a full 2 weeks before the Indomitable could get there to defend it. Lieutenant Choi Han-yul broke the silence. Captain, what if we don't go home? What if we make sure they can't get there either? Explain, Do-hyun said. The young officer brought up a tactical display. Sir, to coordinate an invasion of that scale, they need their central command system. If we could destroy their capital's communication hub, their invasion fleets would be operating blind. Dr. Yoon Jae-won was already analyzing the possibilities. Captain, it could work. Without central coordination, their fleets might not even be able to find Earth. Commander Park So-min was studying the tactical situation. Captain, their capital system is defended by over 1,000 ships. Even with our advantages, the odds of survival are almost zero. Almost zero isn't zero, Do-hyun said quietly. Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae's voice came through the intercom again. Captain, there's something else we could try. I could modify our reactor core to create a massive explosion, enough to destroy everything in the system. A suicide mission, Commander Park So-min said. Maybe, Kim Won-tae replied. But if it saves Earth, Do-hyun looked around his bridge. 2,000 people had volunteered to explore the stars. Now they faced a choice between almost certain death and the destruction of their homeworld. He activated the ship-wide intercom. All hands, this is the captain. I have difficult news. The enemy has tracked our drive signatures back to Earth. Invasion fleets are already heading for our homeworld. Shocked murmurs filled the ship as the news spread. We can't get home in time to defend Earth directly, but we can still save it. The enemy needs their central command system to coordinate the invasion. If we destroy that system, their fleets will be lost and confused. He paused, letting the crew understand what he was really saying. This mission will probably be a one-way trip. I'm asking for volunteers only. Anyone who wants to try reaching Earth in the escape pods can leave now. No one will think less of you. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Not a single person asked to leave. Very well, Do-hyun continued. We're going to penetrate the most heavily defended system in their empire and destroy their central command. If we succeed, Earth survives. If we fail, we don't fail, sir, came a voice from the engineering section. It was Kim Won-tae. We can't fail. The Indomitable began its approach to the hegemony capital system. As they drew closer, the scope of the defenses became clear. Over 1,000 warships patrolled the system, including massive dreadnoughts larger than anything they had seen before. At the center of the system hung the World Eater, a moon-sized space station bristling with weapons. It was clearly designed to destroy planets. "My God," whispered Commander Park Soman. "That thing could crack a planet in half." Dr. Yoon Jae-won was scanning the massive station. "Captain, the energy readings are off the scale. That's not just a weapon, it's the most powerful weapon I've ever seen." High Admiral Zorak Prime stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the human ship approach on his tactical display. "There it is," he said with satisfaction. "The ship that has caused so much trouble." He opened a communication channel. "Unknown vessel, you are completely surrounded. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick." Captain Do-hyun's response was calm and clear. "This is Captain Lee Do-hyun of the Earthship Indomitable. We've come to deliver a message." "What message?" Zorak Prime asked. "Never threaten our home." The battle began immediately. The Indomitable charged straight into the heart of the hegemony fleet, all weapons firing. Their railguns tore through enemy ships like they were made of paper. Plasma cannons cut entire formations in half. Antimatter missiles turned dreadnoughts into expanding clouds of gas. But there were so many enemies. For every ship they destroyed, 2 more took its place. The hegemony forces swarmed around them like angry insects. For the first time since leaving Earth, the Indomitable began taking serious damage. Enemy weapons finally found weak spots in their armor. Hull breaches appeared and crew members rushed to seal them. Lieutenant Choi Hanul was working to repair a critical system when an explosion threw him against a bulkhead. He struggled to his feet, blood running down his face. "Systems back online, Captain," he reported through his communicator. "Good work, Hanul," Do-hyun replied. "Now get to sick bay." "No, sir, I'm staying at my post." An hour into the battle, another explosion rocked the ship. This time, Lieutenant Choi Hanul didn't get back up. Commander Park Soman reported grimly, "Captain, we've lost Hanul and 12 others. Hull integrity down to 60%. The Indomitable fought its way closer to the World Eater, leaving a trail of destroyed hegemony ships behind. But the cost was becoming unbearable. "Kim Won-tae," Do-hyun called to the engine room. "How long until the reactor modification is ready?" 10 minutes, Captain. "But sir, once I start the sequence, there's no stopping it. We'll have maybe 5 minutes to get everyone to the escape pods." Do-hyun looked around his bridge. His crew was battered and exhausted, but still fighting. These people had trusted him to lead them to the stars. Instead, he had led them to war. "No escape pods," he said quietly. "Captain?" Commander Park Soman looked at him in surprise. "If we abandon ship, the hegemony will capture our technology. They'll learn how to build weapons like ours. Earth will be defenseless." Dr. Yoon Jae-won understood immediately. "Captain, you're right. Our ship contains everything they need to match human technology." Communications Officer Han Mi-young was monitoring enemy transmissions. "Captain, they're bringing up the World Eater's main weapon. It's targeting us." The massive space station began to glow with deadly energy. Its planet-killer weapon was preparing to fire. Captain Do-hyun stood up from his command chair one last time. "All hands, this is the captain. We came out here to explore the galaxy and make friends with new civilizations. Instead, we found an empire that sees other species as slaves or enemies." He looked out at the World Eater, its weapon nearly charged. "Today we show them that some species refuse to be conquered. Today we show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home. Today we make them afraid." The World Eater's weapon reached full charge, ready to destroy the Indomitable and everything aboard it. But the human ship had one more surprise waiting. Emperor Valdris the Eternal had ruled the galactic hegemony for over 3 centuries. In all that time, no enemy had ever destroyed more than a handful of his ships. Now he sat on his crystal throne, reading reports that nearly 100 Imperial vessels had been destroyed by a single alien ship. "Impossible," he whispered, his ancient voice echoing through the vast throne room. "Show me the sensor recordings again." High Admiral Zorak Prime activated the holographic display. The battle scenes played out in 3 dimensions above the throne room floor. The assembled High Council watched in stunned silence as the human ship systematically destroyed 2 entire hegemony fleets. "How many casualties?" the Emperor asked. "Nearly 200,000 dead, my lord," Zorak Prime reported. "The survivors describe weapons and defenses beyond anything in our database. Their ship appears to be completely immune to our energy weapons." Council member Nexus Kane, the Empire's intelligence director, stepped forward. "My lord, our analysis suggests this vessel represents a completely unknown technological approach. Their weapons use kinetic energy and exotic matter we don't understand. Emperor Valdris stood up from his throne. At over 8 feet tall with gleaming metal implants covering half his body, he was an intimidating sight. How many ships are in their fleet? That's the disturbing part, my lord, Zorak Prime answered. Our intelligence suggests this is only one ship. If they have more vessels with similar capabilities, then we face a threat to the Empire itself, the Emperor finished. Tell me about their species. Intelligence Director Kane activated another holographic display. They call themselves humans and their homeworld is apparently called Earth. We've never encountered them before, which suggests they come from outside our territory. Or they've been hiding, suggested another council member. No. Kane shook his head. Our analysis of their communications and technology suggests they're newcomers to space travel. This may be their first time leaving their home system. The Emperor was quiet for a long moment, thinking, a species this dangerous cannot be allowed to exist. If they can destroy our fleets with a single ship, imagine what they could do with 100 ships, or 1,000. He turned to High Admiral Zorak Prime. Mobilize the Imperial fleet. I want every warship we have hunting this vessel. And prepare the World Eater. If we find their homeworld, we'll sterilize it completely. Zorak Prime bowed deeply. The Imperial fleet had never been fully mobilized before. It consisted of 10,000 warships, including massive dreadnoughts and planet-killer weapons. It will be done, my lord. Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Captain Do-hyun was studying star charts with his senior officers. The alien empire was vast, stretching across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Their main military installations are here, here, and here. Dr. Yoon Jae-won pointed to locations on the display. If we could strike these facilities simultaneously, we might cripple their ability to build new ships. Commander Park So-min frowned. Captain, we're talking about military targets deep inside their territory. Even with our speed advantage, it would be extremely dangerous. Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae spoke up from the engineering station. Captain, I've been thinking about our weapons reserves. We carry enough ammunition to destroy several thousand enemy ships. But if they send everything they have, how many ships do you think they have? Do-hyun asked. Communications Officer Han Mi-young had been monitoring alien transmissions for hours. Based on what I'm intercepting, Captain, they're mobilizing at least 10,000 warships. Maybe more. The bridge fell silent. 10,000 ships against one, no matter how advanced, seemed impossible odds. Lieutenant Choi Hanul, manning the navigation station, spoke up. Captain, what if we don't fight them ship to ship? What if we hit their infrastructure instead? Explain, Do-hyun said. Well, sir, they need shipyards to build their fleet, supply depots to fuel them, and communication networks to coordinate them. If we destroyed those things, Commander Park So-min caught on immediately. They couldn't replace their losses or coordinate attacks. We could fight the Empire, not just their fleets. Dr. Yoon Jae-won was already analyzing the tactical possibilities. Captain, our quantum fold drive is much faster than their hyperspace technology. We could strike multiple targets before they could respond. Do-hyun considered the plan. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal. But the alternative was leading 10,000 enemy ships straight back to Earth. Ares, he called to the ship's AI system. Analysis of proposed strategic targets. The AI responded immediately. Analysis complete, Captain. Coordinated strikes on primary military facilities would reduce enemy fleet capacity by approximately 60%. However, such actions would constitute a formal declaration of war against the entire galactic hegemony. We're already at war, Do-hyun said grimly. They made that decision when they tried to enslave us. The question is whether we fight on our terms or theirs. He activated the ship-wide intercom. All hands, this is the captain. We've confirmed that this alien empire is mobilizing their entire military against us. 10,000 ships are hunting us right now and more are being built. He paused, letting that sink in. We could run home and hope they don't follow us to Earth, but hope isn't a strategy. And I won't bet humanity's survival on alien mercy. Instead, we're going to hit them where it hurts. We're going to destroy their ability to make war. The response from the crew was immediate and unanimous. They were ready. The Indomitable's first target was the Kepler Military Shipyard, a massive facility that built 100 warships per month. The complex was protected by orbital defense platforms and a fleet of 50 patrol ships. The human ship dropped out of quantum fold space directly above the shipyard. The defenders had no warning, no time to prepare. Within minutes, the entire facility was reduced to glowing wreckage. The Indomitable jumped away before reinforcements could arrive. Their second target was the Vega supply depot, which fueled and armed ships throughout an entire sector. Again, they struck without warning, destroying stockpiles of weapons and fuel that had taken decades to accumulate. The third target was a communication relay station that coordinated fleet movements across 100 star systems. Its destruction left entire regions of the Empire blind and deaf. Emperor Valdris received reports of the attacks while meeting with his war council. Each strike had been precise, devastating, and impossible to prevent. "They're not running," he said with growing anger. "They're hunting us." Intelligence Director Kane was studying the pattern of attacks. "My lord, they're systematically targeting our military infrastructure. If they continue this campaign, they could cripple the entire Imperial fleet," High Admiral Zorak Prime finished. "My lord, we must find their homeworld before they destroy our capacity to strike back." "Then find it," the Emperor commanded. "Use every resource we have. Trace their energy signatures, analyze their technology, follow their communication signals. I want their homeworld found and destroyed within the month." Nexus Kane bowed. "It will be done, my lord." "But my lord, what if they attack the capital?" Emperor Valdris smiled coldly. "Let them come. The capital system is defended by 1,000 ships and the World Eater itself. If they want to face our greatest weapons, they're welcome to try." Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Do-hyun was reviewing the results of their campaign. 3 major strikes had crippled hegemony military production across several sectors. But Han Myung was intercepting increasingly urgent communications. "Captain, they're pulling ships from all over their territory. It looks like they're concentrating everything at their capital system." Dr. Yoon Jae-hwan added his analysis. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from their capital, something much larger than their normal ships." Commander Park So-man checked her tactical display. "Captain, if they're concentrating their forces, it means they're either planning a massive counterattack or preparing for a final battle." "Or both," Do-hyun said quietly. He looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. These people had followed him into impossible battles and won every time. But even they had limits. "Heirs," he called. "Analysis of enemy capital system defenses. Analysis complete, Captain. Enemy capital system contains approximately 1,000 warships plus 1 massive installation of unknown capabilities. Probability of mission success, 12%. Probability of survival, 4%. The bridge was silent for a moment. "Well," Lieutenant Choi Hanul said with a nervous laugh, "at least it's not 0%. Captain Do-hyun stood up from his command chair. "All hands, this is the captain. The enemy is massing their entire fleet at their capital system. If we attack, most of us probably won't survive. But if we don't attack, they'll eventually find Earth and destroy our homeworld." He looked out at the stars where an entire empire wanted him dead. "We came out here to explore the galaxy. Instead, we found an empire of slavers who think humans are property. They're about to learn why that was a mistake." High Admiral Zorak Prime sat in his command throne aboard the massive dreadnought Eternal Dominion, reading the battle report for the 3rd time. According to the surviving ships, a single primitive vessel had destroyed the flagship of Fleet Commander Vex with 1 shot. "Impossible," Zorak muttered, crushing the data pad in his metal claw. "No species that primitive should have weapons that powerful." His aide, a nervous creature with too many eyes, spoke carefully. "Sir, perhaps the survivors exaggerated the report. Fear can make soldiers see things that aren't there." Zorak's red eyes blazed with anger. "Are you suggesting that 11 of my best captains are liars and cowards?" "No, sir, of course not, sir. I merely thought—" "Don't think. Prepare my fleet. I want 50 ships, our finest warriors. We'll capture this impossible vessel and learn how they built such weapons." The aide bowed low. "Should we request additional support from the Imperial fleet?" 50 ships against 1 primitive vessel? I could destroy them with 5 ships. 50 is just to make sure we can capture them alive for questioning." 3 days later, Admiral Thex Corvain led the Hegemony Task Force toward the last known position of the human ship. His 50 vessels were the pride of the Imperial Navy, fast, deadly, and crewed by veterans who had conquered dozens of species for the Empire. "There they are," reported his sensor officer. 1 ship just sitting there. They appear to be conducting repairs. Corvain smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Probably trying to fix whatever lucky weapon they used against Vex. All ships surround the target. Don't let them escape. Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Do-hyun watched the alien ships approach on his main screen. Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae had been working around the clock to repair their quantum fold drive, but they still needed at least 12 hours to finish. 50 ships this time, Commander Park So-min observed from her tactical station. Someone's taking us seriously. Communications Officer Han Myung intercepted the alien transmissions. Captain, they're planning to capture us alive. Something about learning how we destroyed their previous ship. Dr. Yoon Jae-won looked up from his science station with excitement. Captain, I've been studying the wreckage from that first ship. Their technology is actually quite primitive compared to ours. Their armor is weak, their weapons are inefficient, and their power systems are ancient. How ancient? Do-hyun asked. At least 200 years behind Earth technology. It's like they stopped advancing and just built bigger versions of the same old designs. The alien fleet finished surrounding them. Admiral Corvain's voice came through their communications system, speaking the same harsh language they had heard before. Primitive creatures, you are completely surrounded by 50 warships of the Galactic Hegemony. Surrender now and we will kill you quickly. Resist and you will suffer before you die. Do-hyun activated his response channel. This is Captain Lee Do-hyun. We don't want to fight you, but we won't surrender to anyone. Leave us alone and nobody else has to die. Corvain laughed. Die? You destroyed one lucky shot against a careless commander. You won't get another chance like that. All ships prepare to fire. Disable their weapons and engines, but keep the hull intact. Do-hyun looked around his bridge. His crew was ready, their faces calm and determined. These people had volunteered to explore the stars, but they were also soldiers. And soldiers protected each other. Ares Online, he announced, activating the ship's artificial intelligence warfare system. The AI's voice was crisp and professional. Ares system activated, Captain. Analyzing 50 enemy targets. Threat assessment, minimal. Recommended action, complete destruction of hostile fleet. No, Do-hyun said firmly. One more chance first. He opened a channel to the alien fleet. Final warning, leave now or we will defend ourselves. Admiral Corvain's response was immediate. All ships open fire. 50 alien warships fired at once. Energy beams, plasma bolts, and missile swarms filled space around the Indomitable. The human ship disappeared in a blazing cloud of explosions and energy. Direct hits on all weapons, reported Corvain's tactical officer. The primitive vessel is completely destroyed. But as the energy faded, the Indomitable emerged from the cloud completely undamaged. Not even a scorch mark showed on its hull. What? Corvain stared at his screen in shock. How is that possible? Captain Do-hyun's voice came through clearly. You had your chance. Ares, engage all targets. The Indomitable's weapon systems came alive with deadly precision. The main railgun fired 3 times per second, each tungsten slug destroying an alien ship instantly. Plasma cannons, operating at temperatures hotter than stars, sliced through alien hulls like they were made of paper. Missile launchers sent swarms of antimatter warheads that turned entire enemy formations into expanding gas clouds. Admiral Corvain watched in horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed. The human ship moved like a living thing, dodging attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. Their weapons never missed, never wasted a shot. Each time they fired, another hegemony ship died. Retreat, Corvain screamed into his communicator. All ships retreat immediately. But it was too late for most of his fleet. Within 30 minutes, 47 of his 50 ships were nothing but glowing debris. Only Corvain's flagship and 2 escorts managed to escape into hyperspace. The bridge of the Indomitable was quiet, except for the hum of the ship's systems. Commander Park So-min checked her displays with amazement. Captain, we didn't take any damage at all. Their weapons can't even get through our shields. Chief Engineer Kim Won-tae's voice came through the intercom. Drive repairs complete, Captain. We can jump anytime you're ready. But Do-hyun was studying the tactical display, thinking hard. Han Myung, what are you picking up from their communications? The communications officer worked quickly. Massive fleet movements throughout their space, Captain. It sounds like they're mobilizing their entire military. Dr. Yoon Jae-hwan added his analysis. Captain, based on their transmissions, this empire spans thousands of star systems. If they're mobilizing everything they have, then they'll come at us with everything they have, Do-hyun finished. How long until we can reach Earth? At maximum speed, about 4 months, Kim Won-tae replied. And they'll be following us the whole time, Commander Park Soman observed. Captain, if they track us back to Earth. Do-hyun stood up from his command chair. The weight of command had never felt heavier. His crew was looking to him to keep them alive and protect their homeworld. But how do you fight an entire galactic empire? All hands, this is the captain, he announced over the ship-wide intercom. We've successfully defended ourselves against 50 enemy ships, but this is far from over. This alien empire sees us as a threat, and they're not going to stop hunting us. He paused, looking out at the debris field that had once been a hegemony fleet. We have two choices. We can run home as fast as possible and hope they don't follow us to Earth. Or we can make them regret ever finding us. Either way, we're probably not going home as explorers anymore. We're going home as soldiers. The crew was silent as they considered their captain's words. They had left Earth to explore new worlds and meet new civilizations. Instead, they had found an empire that wanted to enslave or kill them. Lieutenant Choi Hanul, the youngest officer on the bridge, spoke up. Captain, what are your orders? Do-hyun looked at the tactical display showing the vast empire that now considered humanity its enemy. Then he looked at his crew. 2,000 of Earth's best ready to follow him into hell if necessary. We're going to teach this empire something they've apparently forgotten, he said quietly. Never corner something more dangerous than you are. Captain Lee Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the UNSC Indomitable, watching the stars blur past the massive viewing screen. His ship was humanity's pride and joy, the first vessel capable of faster-than-light travel. After months of testing, they were finally ready to push the quantum-fold drive to its limits. All systems ready, Captain, reported Commander Park Soman from her tactical station. Her fingers danced across the control panels as she monitored the ship's weapons and defenses. The Indomitable carried the most advanced military technology Earth had ever created. Chief Engineer Kim Wantae's voice crackled through the intercom from the engine room. Drive core is stable, sir. We're ready to make history. Do-hyun nodded and settled into his command chair. Around him, 2,000 crew members worked at their stations. These were Earth's best and brightest, soldiers, scientists, engineers, and explorers chosen for humanity's first journey to the stars. Begin the jump sequence, Do-hyun ordered. The ship hummed with power as the quantum-fold drive activated. Space twisted around them, and suddenly the Indomitable shot forward faster than light itself. Everything went according to plan for the first few minutes. Then the alarm started screaming. Emergency shutdown, Kim Wantae shouted over the communication system. Something's wrong with the drive core. The ship shuddered and spun wildly as the drive malfunctioned. Sparks flew from control panels and crew members struggled to stay in their seats. The lights flickered, and for a terrifying moment, Do-hyun thought they might be torn apart. Then everything went quiet. Status report, Do-hyun called out. Dr. Yoon Jae-hwan, the ship's chief scientist, was already scanning his instruments. Captain, we've stopped moving, but I'm not reading any familiar star patterns. We're not in our solar system anymore. Communications officer Han Mi-young looked up from her station with wide eyes. Sir, I'm picking up unknown signals. They're not human. Before anyone could respond, 12 massive alien ships appeared around them. Each vessel was 3 times larger than the Indomitable, with sleek hulls that gleamed like black metal. Strange symbols glowed along their sides. This is Fleet Commander Chiron Vex of the Galactic Hegemony. A harsh voice spoke through their communication system. The translation software worked perfectly, but the tone was cold and demanding. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves and prepare to surrender immediately. Do-hyun stood up slowly. He had trained for first contact scenarios, but never like this. This is Captain Lee Do-hyun of the Earthship Indomitable. We mean no harm. Our navigation system malfunctioned and we're lost. We request assistance to return to our home system. Laughter echoed through the communication channel. Earth? Never heard of it. Your primitive vessel will be seized and your crew will be processed as slaves. This is your only warning. Surrender now or be destroyed. Commander Park Soman whispered urgently. Captain, their weapons are charging. 12 ships against 1. We should consider their demands. Do-hyun looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. These people had volunteered to explore the stars, not to become slaves to aliens who threatened them without cause. No, he said firmly. We don't surrender to anyone. He activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain. We've encountered hostile aliens who demand our surrender. That's not going to happen. We're going home and we're going home free. Fleet Commander Vex's voice turned angry. Foolish creatures. You will learn the price of defying the hegemony. The alien ships opened fire with bright energy beams that lit up space like deadly fireworks. The weapons struck the Indomitable's hull with tremendous force, but the ship's experimental armor held strong. The neutronium composite plating, designed to withstand nuclear explosions, barely showed scorch marks from the alien attack. Damage report, Do-Yun called out. Kim Wante's voice came through clearly. Hull integrity at 98%, Captain. Their weapons barely scratched us. The alien fleet commander sounded shocked when he spoke again. Impossible. No primitive species should have armor that strong. All ships maximum power. The 12 ships fired again, this time with everything they had. Energy beams, plasma bolts, and exotic weapons Do-Yun couldn't identify, all struck the Indomitable at once. The ship shook, but the armor held. Commander Park Soman looked at her tactical display in amazement. Captain, they're not even getting through our outer hull. It's like they're throwing rocks at a tank. Do-Yun made his decision. Soman, target their lead ship. One warning shot from the main railgun. Park Soman's hands flew over her controls. The Indomitable's primary weapon was a massive railgun that could accelerate a tungsten slug to 15% of light speed. It was designed to punch through asteroid-sized targets. Target locked, Captain. Fire. The railgun fired with a sound like thunder. The tungsten slug crossed the distance between ships in less than a second. It struck Fleet Commander Vex's flagship dead center. The alien ship simply vanished. One moment it was there, firing at them with all its weapons. The next moment there was nothing but expanding gas and debris. The other 11 ships stopped firing immediately. Silence filled the communication channel for several seconds. Then panicked alien voices started shouting in languages the translation system couldn't handle fast enough. All ships retreat. Retreat immediately. Contact High Command. Tell them we found something impossible. That weapon. It's not supposed to exist. The remaining 11 alien ships turned and fled at top speed, disappearing into hyperspace within minutes. The Indomitable was left alone in empty space, surrounded by the glowing wreckage of what had been the hegemony's most advanced warship. Do-Hyun sat back down in his command chair, his heart still racing. Well, he said quietly, I don't think we're going to have a peaceful first contact after all. Dr. Yoon Jae-won was studying his sensors with growing concern. Captain, I'm picking up massive energy signatures throughout this region of space. This galactic hegemony appears to control hundreds of star systems. Han Myung looked up from her communication station. Sir, I'm intercepting their transmissions. They're sending reports about us to something called High Command. It sounds like we just made a very powerful enemy. Commander Park Soman checked her weapons systems. Captain, we have enough ammunition to fight a small war, but if this empire is as big as it seems, then we better find a way home fast, Do-Hyun finished. He activated the ship-wide intercom again. All hands, this is the captain. We've successfully defended ourselves against hostile aliens, but we're not out of danger yet. All departments, focus on repairing our drive system. We need to get back to Earth and warn them about what's out here. As his crew worked frantically to repair their damaged ship, Do-Hyun stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there was an alien empire that considered humans to be slaves. They had just destroyed one of their ships and humiliated their fleet commander. He had a feeling this was only the beginning.